Thutmose the Great was the sixth pharaoh of the 18th dynasty, one of the greatest military leaders in ancient history, and among the most impressive monarchs in Egypt's history. Thutmose ruled Egypt for almost 54 years, and during his rule, he defeated many of Egypt's enemies, and greatly expanded the Egyptian empire. Becoming the sole ruling pharaoh of the kingdom, after the deaths of Thutmose II and Hatshepsut, he created the largest empire Egypt had ever seen. Thutmose III never lost a single battle, expanded and maintained his empire, and worshipped by his people for centuries after his death. Thutmose III was born in 1481, and was only 3 years old when his father died. He was made regent and then reigning monarch. Thutmose had little power over the empire, while Hatshepsut exercised the formal titulary of kingship. Her rule was quite prosperous and marked by great advancements. When he reached appropriate age, and demonstrated the abilities, she appointed him to head of her armies. Hatshepsut's reign ended with her death in 1458, and Thutmose III came to the throne. She had maintained a tight control of Egypt's border, but with her death, the kings of Canaan and Syria rebelled. Widely considered a military genius, Thutmose led 17 successful military campaigns in 20 years. He is recorded to have captured 350 cities during his rule, and conquered from Euphrates to Nubia. Thutmose marched his troops through the coastal plains as far as Jamnia, then to a small city near Megiddo. The ensuing Battle of Megiddo was the largest battle of Thutmose's 17 campaigns. The Canaanites have been allied with the Mitanni and Amurru. The driving and main force behind this revolt was the king of Kadesh. The powerful fortress of Kadesh offered protection to him and the city. The king of Megiddo with an equally strong army joined the alliance. Thutmose led the attack from the center, scattered the rebels and entered the valley unopposed. The city was besieged for 7 months, and the king of Kadesh escaped. He won a decisive victory at Battle of Megiddo by defeating the rebels, and brought them back under Egypt's control. This campaign drastically changed the political situation in the ancient Egypt. Thutmose gained control of all of northern Canaan. After the victory at Megiddo, Thutmose launched his campaign into Syria to take Kadesh. After he had taken control of Syrian cities, the next target was the state of Mitanni. Thutmose erected a stele at the Euphrates River, commemorated in his inscription at Karnak, known as Thutmose III's Hymn of Victory. His Nubian campaigns were equally successful, and expanded Egypt's holdings beyond any of his predecessors, and made the country wealthier. His reign was not only focused on military conquest, but also patronized the arts. He commissioned and constructed 50 temples, numerous tombs and monuments. He contributed more significantly to the Temple of Amun at Karnak. The renovations and additions to the Karnak temple was the most significant. Thutmose also undertook building projects to the south of the main temple, between the sanctuary of Amun and the Temple of Mut. He commissioned royal artists to depict his extensive collections of fauna and flora in the botanical garden of Thutmose III. Thutmose died of natural causes in 1425, and was buried in his own mortuary temple in the Valley of the Kings, beside that of Hatshepsut at Deir el-Bahri. Thutmose III's mummy was discovered in the Deir el-Bahri cave, above the mortuary temple of Hatshepsut. He was buried along with those of other 18th, 19th dynasty leaders. Thutmose is known as one of Egypt's greatest pharaohs. During his 54-year reign, he greatly expanded the Egyptian empire. He was both a military genius and brave warrior, and often fought on the front lines, leading his army into the battle. No opposing army survived long against his forces. Before his death, Thutmose also ensured that the next pharaoh would be properly trained in the art of rule. He appointed his son and successor Amenhotep II as co-regent during his reign. In every aspect, Thutmose III represented the ideal pharaoh, and his memory has endured to the present day as one of the greatest kings of ancient Egypt.